Hello, welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. We have 3 stories for you today. Simple but funny DMV story. You need a doctor's note? Well, okay. And scrub the walls of the parking garage with a magic eraser? Okay, see you in about 6 hours. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Alright, let's get started. Our first story. Simple but funny DMV story. Several years ago, it was a depressingly slow day. I think it was close to the holidays, when everyone was busy at the mall. I stepped into my local DMV office about 15 minutes before closing. What made this even rarer was that, besides a few guests mulling about in a far corner by the testing area, waiting for test results or maybe a photo, I was the lone person waiting for assistance, as there was absolutely no one waiting to be called. So, I walked over to the long counter, caught some state employee's eyes, and indicated I needed help. She came up and asked if I had a number, I said as I looked around an empty lobby. She said, well, everyone has to have a number, and pointed off in the distance back to the entrance, towards an antique of an old clanking number printer. So, I made the long walk back and waited for it to chug and grind and spit out a ticket. I then made the long walk back, standing several feet from the U-shaped set of windows. Looking at the employees all gathered together, gossiping finally, someone elbowed someone and announced there was someone in the lobby. They begrudgingly and slowly walked over, in that slow walk that every state employee does when they have to help a taxpayer. They reach their window and call a number out. I'm holding my number between my 2 hands like I've just heard the winning lottery number being announced with a big smile on my face and a pure look of glee, but as I look down and see, darn, that's not my number, I give a big, disheartened scowl and shake my head no. She clicks the button and calls out a new number. I get really excited again, my face lighting up, and I raise my ticket in front of me, but alas, this too isn't my number. So my face sinks, and I look left and right, even looking over my shoulder as if to see and congratulate who had actually been called. 1. This went on for 3, 4, and 5 numbers. This sad government bureaucratic game, they insisted, must be played on. 2. Finally, she got all exasperated and loudly said, to me, you are the only one who got up here. I responded without taking a step, but you insisted I must have a number. I swear she almost threw her stapler at me. Our next story. You need a doctor's note? Well, okay. 1. I had a really high fever, cough, sore throat, headache, and the whole works, but it wasn't COVID. I self-administered my COVID test. 2. As I wasn't scheduled to work on the day I was ill, I decided that I'd inform my supervisor the following day if I was still unwell and tested negative, although I was taking the following day off too. Time off works a little differently in the sense that I could still be called back to work if there was an emergency. However, as I worked the night shift, there were 2 functions to it. Urgent consultations over the phone or email. Groundwork. Also, there was a change in our core function for the night shift, which resulted in us handling significantly fewer cases, and due to manpower shortages, there's only 1 or a maximum of 2 people on duty per night. I was still unwell the following day and informed my supervisor that, as I was on time off and unwell, I would not be able to perform function 2, groundwork, but would be able to perform function 1, urgent consultation, if necessary. However, my supervisor mentioned that if I were sick, I should see a doctor and provide a doctor's note, as I could still be called back into work. However, I explained that that was the reason I was informing them, as I could still perform function 1. But note. Cue malicious compliance. Initially, I considered the manpower shortage and wanted to just use one of my entitlements, which allowed me to use sick leave without a doctor's note, as follows. I was feeling slightly better by the evening and felt that with more rest I could carry on with my usual duties the following day, and I noted that I was the only one on shift for a few days the rest of the week, and I didn't want my team to scramble over a replacement as I knew my doctor would provide me with a note that would cover my absence for the rest of the week. However, since it was insisted that I see a doctor as I was sick, I did so. And I did get a note to cover my absence till the end of the week. And now they're scrambling to find someone willing to work the days that I was the only one scheduled because there's literally nobody else, which means the higher-ups will reluctantly have to cover. And our last story. Scrub the walls of the parking garage with a magic eraser? Okay, see ya in about 6 hours. Okay, so this happened about 3 years ago. I was working for a cleaning company in governmental buildings, and FYI, this is a manager that I and plenty of other people had issues with. One day I went into work like normal, everything was fine, but my manager needed me to do some extra floors to vacuum. Sure, no problem, I told her that I didn't have that many floors to do and could do them after just needing a list of the floors to vacuum. No argument from her, just a MHM, I'll have it for you after, and off to work I went. About 2 hours go by, and I'm done with my floors. I go to the office to get a list of the floors she needs me to do, and it turns out she needs me to do them early in the morning, news to me, and ended up sending someone else, and I should have waited. I told her she never said it was time sensitive, otherwise, I would have waited. She rolls her eyes and just repeats the same thing, saying that I still should have waited, but whatever's done is done, and when I ask her if there's anything else that needs to be done, she tells me to grab a bucket, some gloves, and some magic erasers and scrub the walls of the parking garage. There are 5 levels, and I knew that it wasn't part of the contract to clean it, plus this was a method she used as a form of punishment for insubordination. She expected me to have it all done by the end of my shift. I grabbed my stuff and did as tell, but was only able to clean 1 level. By the end of my shift, I told her, along with my supervisor, that I was only able to do 1 level of the parking garage and that I would try to get more done tomorrow. Now my supervisor had no idea that's where I was since she didn't tell him, and I was needed elsewhere for something more important that ended up not being done at all since no one could find me. I couldn't get a radio and the signal sucked there, so there were no texts or calls. He was livid. He asked everyone to leave, and then the very loud argument started. Why would you send her there? It's not even part of our contract. You were warned about pulling this crap on employees. She wasn't fired, 3 strikes and you're out kind of thing, but with the 2 higher-ups, regional manager and regional supervisor, there with her the next day, she was forced to apologize face-to-face for what she made me do and wasting my time. My only reply was, thank you for your apology, but you didn't waste my time and money. It's the company's time and money that you wasted, and now unless there's something else, I'll get to my floors since I have a busy day of vacuuming. And just left. She hadn't given me trouble since.